as well as the thick client application that allows scheduling, Connectvision has a number of web applications which we lump under the title of web admin. I'm just going to call that now. So on your system you should have this set up, probably as a shortcut in desktop or in an email, but this is where we get in. So I'm going to enter as admin and see what it shows me. So I don't want to remember that now. Okay, the first thing we're presented with is what we call the dashboard. This is a view of our system. We can see the status of the individual player machines. I only have one here. This player machine is online. It will tell you which are offline and online. By clicking on the appropriate piece of the pie, we'll get a list underneath, which are those that are online. This is this one. And we'll also see the last snapshot he gave us. No, okay, this was, as you saw before, a picture before I entered this. If I think you're updating every 30 seconds or so, this one's set up to be. It tells you whether it's online. If you have a screen power management in, it will tell you whether it's been updated. This isn't. Last time the player contacted the server, they are a poll time of 10 minutes or so. And what the last content was. This is an unknown schedule because this isn't a real scenario. When it was delivered and when it went live. In addition, there are future schedules, that is those schedules which have been sent to go live at some point in the future. We have none of those at the moment. Undelivered schedules are those where content hasn't been delivered for the schedule. So the dashboard is where you may spend a lot of time monitoring the system. As you could imagine, when there are many hundreds of zones, this becomes very useful. And we have things like a slider to allow you to zoom, etc. Okay. Connectvision has a role-based security system. So let's look at users. There's only one user on this system, administrator. Let's have a look at administrator. Administrator with password. He's in a role system administrator. Well, let's have a look at roles. What does that mean? Here's a role. Now, a role consists of permissions, that is what they're allowed to do on the system. So there's a number here of, can you access the tabs, can you do very much at all. Some users are locked down, so all they can do is manage feeds, which is another video which we'll go on to shortly. In addition to the number of fixed items on the system, what we can also do is we can tie users to the folders in the content repository. Now this is only high level folders, so we can't go drill in to 5 or 6 levels down and say, okay, you can have everything except this one. This has to be done at a top level. So as you can see, these are the top level folders. Also, the feeds that are set up, we can say which ones they're allowed to have. So in an organization where a user has access to certain parts of the organization, it's possible to say, yeah, you can only see the feed which is relevant to your part of the organization. So permission sets are these this particular part. So it allows us to see feeds, see folders, and also zones. So if you have players, let's say you work in a reception area, and you only have access to one feed, which is the welcome feed, and you only have access to one player zone, which is the one behind you, say in reception. It's possible for you to just be able to, using the same Connectvision system, modify just the one screen with one feed. Alternatively, if you've got access to many hundreds of screens and many hundreds of feeds, it's possible to do the same thing there. Okay, so that was roles. Let's look at the zones part of the system. The zones is actually just a straight list of the individual machines on the system. Delete is, do I want to delete this particular record? Reboot. Do I want to reboot the machine that belongs to this zone? Do I want to do a reset? That's a content reset. That means look at the content on the machine, look at what it should be and do an integrity check on the content and make sure all the content matches what it should be. Rename is a straightforward, do I want to rename this zone? It's possible to filter there. Rename is a straightforward quick zone rename, so we type in the name of the current zone, it finds it, then it allows us to rename it. I think I can just probably do that if I can remember. It's Saturn test. Yeah, so that would allow us to rename and put into a group should we want to. The updates tab are the updates for the individual components of the system. There aren't any on here, but it's possible to make the system update itself based on new releases of software. That'll be done automatically. That's a system administration function which you don't need to know too much about here. There's adding a new user, which is very much what you'd expect. Very simple. Allows you to put a user in and tie it to a role. The last thing is reports, which we'll go into in more detail later, but there are a number of reports here which we can call, most of which won't have too much information in because this is a demonstration system and not a live system. But we can get things like the proof of posting, we can get dead zone reports, reports of what's playing where, reports of any faults we've had. Okay, this is the same report. As you can see now, we're actually looking at something new because this is the image that's been dragged more recently than the previous one we saw. In fact, if we go back to the dashboard, I'm pretty sure we'd see, there we go, we'd see that, which is what we've just been looking at, the reports tab. And again, if we looked at that in a few seconds time or maybe a minute's time, we'd see yet another snapshot. Let's just check. Okay, so very simple again, but still quite powerful. Allows you to administer a system, roles, users, zones, reports from web tools not installed on anyone's desktop but available within the organization. Okay, so that's the Connectvision web admin.